Even that I think looks pretty cool, but we're going to go ahead and put a much nicer shadow on this. Okay, so how to do that? I'm going to select my text layer. I'm going to hold down Shift and select the layer above it, and I'm going to hit Command or Control G to group them. Okay, now the reason why I'm grouping them is because I want to duplicate them. You can just right click and hit Duplicate Group. Okay, and let's call this. We'll just call this text. Okay. And I'm going to shut this one off. And now I just have my group layer again in case I do something stupid and I want to come back and fix it. So I just like to, have this backup. Okay, so now that I have this text here, I'm going to go ahead and merge this. Okay, now you can actually just right click and merge group, or you can just hit Command or Control E. All right, and now this is no longer text. This is in the shape of text. You can't change this. Now you can't change the font, the size, or the letters. Okay, it is just pixels in the shape of letters, okay, as opposed to actually being text. Now, I'm going to duplicate this layer. Okay, lots of ways to duplicate. This time I'm just going to hit Command J, and I've duplicated my layer. Okay, now, this layer here, I'm going to call, let's see, I'm going to move it below the text layer. I'm going to call this one Shadow. Okay, now I'm going to shut the top layer off so you can see what I'm going to do here. So I have my shadow selected. I'm going to come up here to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. Note you can also just hit Command U. I'm going to turn the lightness down so that I have made all this black. Okay, now I've made it black. I am going to come up here to Filter, Blur, or no. Yes, Blur, and Motion Blur. Okay, and see how it's blurred it like that? All right, and that's actually okay. As long as, see how you can change the angle of the blur? I want the angle of the blur to be the same way as this light, okay? And that'll work okay, just like that. Maybe we'll turn this up a little bit. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, now let's turn our text layer back on. Okay, so we have this shadow underneath now, okay? I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the shadow layer once, make it darker. Yeah, that works. I'm going to select both shadow layers by holding down Shift. I'm going to hit Command E and merge them. And that's okay. That's okay just like that, actually. Now, I want the light to kind of be shining from up above a little bit, so I don't quite like the way this is set up so far. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a layer mask on it. I've got lots of tutorials on layer masks if you're not quite sure how to use them, but I'm going to come down here to layer mask and just select layer mask, okay? I'm going to make sure the layer mask is selected, okay? And again, I do some pretty detailed breakdowns on layer masks in previous tutorials. I'm going to make sure that black is selected here so that I can paint in my layer mask, which will non-destructively erase some of my shadow. And I want to do this non-destructively because this might take some adjustments. I'm going to select, what should I select here? The rectangle marquee. We'll give it 20 pixels, okay, 20 pixel feathers instead of the 200. We'll click and drag, and like so. Okay, I'm going to select my paint bucket. Make sure black selected and just tap in here to remove that top shadow. And again, I've removed it using a layer mask, so if I needed to, I could actually put white in there and get it back. See? Non-destructive. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Like something like that. Okay, I need to paint in there, make sure it's all gone. That's exactly what I'm looking for there. And I'm going to hit Command D and deselect. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and lighten up my vignette a bit and lighten up this black of the light just a touch. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I think what I want to do is let's see, what do I want to do here? I want to select my brush, make sure black's selected, and let's see here, a nice round brush, turn the hardness way down. This is a good size for me. And okay, make sure the layer mask is selected, and I'm gonna just paint with black to erase and just get rid of the shadow over here. The shadow would be more like this, the shadow would be coming down here. There wouldn't really be a shadow right here if the light was facing the way I'm intending it to face. Same with right in here. Let's see, same with right in here, like so, and right there. Okay, that's pretty good, like so. I like that. Okay, and again, if I get too extreme and erase something like that I didn't want to, I just come over here, put white back, and can still kind of paint that in again, like so. Okay, and I think that maybe the shadow would be covering all of that. That'll work. flip this over to white. I can just hit X. See, I'm hitting X and see how it's changing from white to black. All right, kind of paint that in a bit. Okay, that's a lot better. Let's go ahead and blur that a little bit just to get rid of my brush edges. So Gaussian blur, just a touch, like so. There we go. Now look at that shadow, okay? Look at that shadow compared to just the regular old drop shadow, okay? Yeah, okay, I like that. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm going to come up here and select my text, okay? Now what I'm going to do is make it look like this has got lots of cracks in it, okay? And then we're going to actually shatter it a bit, all right? So here's a way that I came up with to make this look like it's got some, natural organic cracks in it. See how this crack right here? Yeah, I want to kind of mimic that, but in a more extreme way.